Good morning, everybody. Shift your mindset here on this beautiful Monday. We recharged our batteries, maybe. Let's start the week with a new episode, and it's called Love Your Enemies. And I'm a big fan of that. Why? Because it's better to love than to guilt, fear, anxiety, everything else. It makes your life more quality of life. But it's also a beautiful thing that we can see where we come from and the double standards the JW religion have. So I'm starting this Monday, and maybe we can wake some people up. Wake them up, not to follow me, not to follow other persons, not to follow the government, not to follow whoever, but to start trusting on your own creation. Resemblance of God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, but we are also creators. And we have to create our own perspective of life. We can create our own life. We can create our own freedom. We can create everything what we put our mind to. And it's a beautiful thing that people start to think for themselves. I believe. That's my opinion. That you can trust your own gut feeling. Because as a JW, we used to only think, and we think what is put into us by other people who don't have our advantage at heart. And I was reading a beautiful article on the JW website. Love your enemies. And I was thinking, in this famous Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, love your enemies. Very simple, but it's hard to do. His words mean that we should act lovingly towards those who hate us or treat us unjustly. Short sentence, we should act lovingly towards those who hate us or treat us unjustly. Jesus demonstrated his love by forgiving those who mistreated them. His teaching about loving our enemies harmonizes what is stated in the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament. And if you read only these few sentences, Jehovah's Witnesses who are watching, why are you still following the governing body, a man-made organization, instead of those beautiful words in the Old Testament? If you claim that you follow the Bible, and it's already in us that we have to love each other, it's an automatic thing that we care about other people. We're social beings. Why is it so hard for you to shove this aside, and to do another thing? This is the double standards of the governing body. And why am I saying that? Love your enemies. God sets the example. He makes his sun rise on the wicked. Love may move an enemy to change. That if we treat an enemy kindly, we will be heaping burning coals on his head. If we are kind to a person who hates us, we may melt away his anger and bring out the good for him, in him. If we are kind to a person, how, let's be reasonable and logical, how can I be kind to you? To say, dear followers, I appreciate you. I like you guys. I love the way you interact with me beneath the videos. I'm reading all your comments because all of your comments are valuable to me. That's me being kind, doesn't cost me a thing, and besides that, I also mean it. I'm very appreciative for all the 2,000 subscribers to my channel. Every day I read all the comments, and where I can, I respond to them. I appreciate all people who take their time to look at the videos and also to react to the videos, or giving a thumbs up or giving a comment. I appreciate every one of you, and I hope for everyone that they find the purpose in their lives, that they can break free from all the conditioning around us in society and start living their own life based on their own choices. Well thought choices. That you thought about something and then you make a choice. Not running that subconscious program that you do something out of a habit because you always do it. You can't control, listen to me, you can't control your first thought because it's an automatic reaction from your subconscious. It's a program that is running in the background where data was put in from the past. So you can't control, listen, you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second and your third thought. And that's why I am busy with to notice my first thought, to correct it, to think something differently in the second or the third thought. And that raises my vibration, and that gives me the better quality of life. So let's do that and analyze this, guys. It's Jesus. If you believe it or not, it's good advice. JWs, you believe in Jesus, take his advice instead of the governing body. Here is someone talking about enemies. And I make a little bridge now to the Jehovah's Witnesses who left the organization. They didn't mistreated you as a person. They just left the organization. They didn't want to be a part of the organization. They were not disagreeing with you. They were disagreeing with the teachings maybe of the ones who are in charge, who make the policies, who make the rules, who want you to follow those rules. They say, I'm not gonna follow those rules anymore. It has nothing to do with you personally. They didn't beat you up. They didn't scam you. They didn't mistreat you. Suddenly, on a congregation meeting, you heard, Brother Sven Lenderink is no longer a Jehovah's Witness. And you said, huh? Sven? Oh my God, Sven is such a nice person. I liked hanging out with him, blah, blah, blah. And then you're gonna shun the hell out of me. Because you follow a man-made organization with stupid rules. Because how is it possible that Jehovah's Witnesses are reading this and don't make that connection to loving your enemies? People who leave are not your enemies. Only if they did something personally to you and they are disfellowshipped. Then it's maybe an enemy of you. But then, even then, Jesus said you have to love them. You have to be kind to them. What are some ways to love your enemy? If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. You may find other ways to show love to an enemy by applying what is known as the golden rule, which says, just as you want men to do to you, do the same way to them. If you go back, give someone, feed someone, give him something to drink, it's an enemy. It's a rule that you have to give him something to feed, give him something to drink. And a Jehovah Witness who left the organization, you leave him or her out in the cold. You are not eating with somebody, you're not drinking with somebody, you're not asking him or her, hey, how are you holding up? I believe it's hard for you that you left the organization. I'm sure you miss somebody inside of the organization. It must be a big change for you what you are going through now. That kindness, that empathy, that being human. That's what Jesus was telling us. And you guys pretend to follow Jesus and the Bible, but if we're reading this article, how can you not see that something is wrong on a big scale? Truly wrong. We bless our enemies by speaking kindly and considerately to them. Speaking kindly to them, even if they speak abusively to us. There's almost no ex-JW I know who is speaking abusively to Jehovah Witnesses. They are speaking maybe about that organization they are in and where they're trapped in, and that's what we see. But we never make it personal to one or another in the congregation. We know you try the best. We know there are so many good loving JWs who are just trapped in that religion, and we feel sorry for them. But it's rare that someone is abusively towards JWs. And here it is, do not repay evil for evil. Instead, ask God to forgive the person. And that's the other way around. Ex-Jehovah Witnesses do not repay evil with evil. I want to have contact with my Father, but he doesn't want to have contact with me. So who is the one who's repaying evil for evil? That are the Jehovah Witnesses, guys. Think about that. The Jehovah Witnesses repay evil with evil. You did something we don't like, we pay you with evil back. We shun you, you are dead to us, you don't you cannot socialize with us anymore. We take away all your friends and family. We isolate you. How is that loving your enemy? Because the shunned people are your enemy. We can conclude that they are even worse than the enemies of the state, of the government, of the whatever. Everybody around you. You can speak with my uncle, who was never a JW, who maybe is doing far worse things than I am doing. I'm not accusing him of anything, but to make a comparison. And because I was a Jehovah Witness, I am worse than he is. And my father can talk to my uncle still, but he can't talk to me. How wrong is that, guys? If you are saying that you follow Jehovah and Jesus. Jesus is a second-hand figure now in the Jehovah Witnesses. It's the governing body decided that. The governing body is saying this. You have to follow the governing body even if it doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. Jesus and Jehovah always made sense in the Bible. Jehovah didn't say things that you could interpret like this or this or this. He said, I'm gonna destroy Nineveh, for example. He doesn't say, I'm gonna destroy a city. No, he was always spot on in what he was doing. Jesus was always straightforward in what he was doing. There was no static on the line for people to interpret it like this or like that or like that. No, if they're saying something, it was just honest, straightforward, and it came true. So, who is repaying evil with evil? I think the guys who are shunning made that policy, but also all the JWs who are doing that at this moment are repaying evil with evil. And it wasn't evil if someone was leaving. It was just a personal choice, guys. They didn't leave the organization to put the organization in a bad light. They didn't leave the organization and because, I don't know, they want to do something to the organization. No, they took a personal choice for leaving. And that should be respected. And if you agree or disagree with it, it's not an enemy who is leaving. No one is an enemy of you. You have the persecution complex and cognitive dissonance and all those things that troubles your whole vision about what's happening. You also have to be patient and kind. So, not being rude. Love is not jealous. So love your neighbor. That's what the Israelites were told to do by Jehovah. Other humans, that meant neighbors. So it's not only fellow Jews or whatever, no, it was their neighbors. So also other non-Jews around them. So we have to love our enemies. There are a lot of scriptures. When your enemy falls, do not rejoice, and when he stumbles, do not let your heart be joyful, otherwise Jehovah will see and be displeased. God doesn't want us to rejoice, even secretly, over bad things that happen to our enemies. I know a lot of JWs who are rejoicing when something goes bad with an ex-JW, when he gets in trouble. I often heard it as a kid, that someone had a relationship, then that's why they left the Jehovah Witnesses, and then they broke up later on. And then the Jehovah Witnesses were all happy. Yeah, see, if you are in Satan's world, then there's no love and there's no real marriage and commitment and stuff like that. It was about to happen. See, without the organization, you can't be happy. You can't have a good relationship and stuff like that. They were rejoicing that it went worse with somebody, that they broke up with somebody or whatever. They were happy because that proved in that time that only in the organization you can be happy. It's grasping at straws for the Jehovah Witnesses, but they were happy. So it's a short video, short article. It's about loving your enemies. So I want to challenge every JW to start your critical thinking and to read this and apply it on your own policies about shunning. And are you happy that somebody leaves? Are you still talking to somebody? Are you still being kind to somebody who leaves, who isn't even your enemy? Let that sink in. We are not your enemy. We are just human beings who will want to live a life in a different way than you do. So respect us, we respect you, of course. But treat us with the same respect as you get from all the people who are leaving. And that's how it should be done. And if we do that, maybe we can make this world a little bit of a better place. Thank you guys for watching. See each other on the next episode.